Have you ever walked through your house and thought, do we really need all of this? Maybe the kids have moved out. Maybe you're cleaning and nobody's been in those rooms for a while. Maybe you're paying for heating and air conditioning where most of the house sits empty. Or you've been hearing your friends talk about downsizing and you're starting to wonder, is this something that you should be doing too? If that's you, I want to share that topics that may save you from making a very expensive mistake. Because after helping hundreds of people buy and sell homes throughout Mesa and the East Valley, I've discovered something very interesting. The people who are happiest after making a move are not necessarily the people that downsized. They're the people who chose the lifestyle that fits their next phase of life. And those are two very different things. In fact, one of the biggest mistakes that homeowners make is assuming that downsizing is automatically the smartest choice for them. Sometimes it is, and sometimes it's not. Before you make a decision that impacts your finances, your family, and your daily life, there's a few things we need to talk about and you need to know. So stay with me, because later in this video, I'm gonna share the one question I ask every homeowner when they're considering downsizing. That question alone completely changed people's decisions. My name is Melissa Bailey. I'm a Mesa native and a local realtor. I've helped hundreds of people navigate this transition, and today I want to help you determine whether downsizing is truly the right move for you. So, why downsizing has become popular recently? Let's start with so many people are talking about downsizing. On the surface, it makes perfect sense. Less house, less maintenance, less cleaning, less expenses, more freedom. Who wouldn't want all of that? And for some people, that's exactly what happens. But what I've noticed is that many homeowners start with the assumption that a smaller home automatically means a better life. And that's not always the case. What they don't realize is that their relationship with their home is often way more emotional than practical. So think about it. You own a home for a while. How many memories were created there? Birthdays, holiday dinners, grandkids running through the house, family photos on the walls, late night conversations around the kitchen island. A home isn't just a structure. It's where your life happens. And that's why downsizing is often way more emotional than people expect it to be. Have you thought about that? When you imagine moving, are you excited? Or does that part feel a little sad? Both feelings are completely normal. The biggest myth about downsizing is things I hear: smaller house equals lower expenses. Sometimes that's true, and sometimes it isn't. So let's look at a real world example. Imagine you've owned your Mesa home for 20 years. Maybe your mortgage payment is really low and the house is almost paid off. You've refinanced when rates were low and your property taxes are manageable. Now you sell and you buy something newer. You pay moving expenses, you pay closing costs, you potentially take on higher HOA fees, you maybe have increased your property taxes because the home is newer. You bought all new furniture to put in the space, and then you pay for updates to make it your own. You may even have a higher monthly payment despite owning a smaller home. I've seen this happen many times, and that's why I tell people this. Never downsize because you think you're supposed to. Downsize because it improves your life. There's a huge difference. So something that changed my perspective was I worked with a couple that was absolutely convinced that they wanted to downsize. Their children were grown, they had extra bedrooms, the house felt larger than they needed. We started looking. At first, everything seemed straightforward. They loved the idea of smaller. They loved the thought of less maintenance. But as we toured homes, something interesting happened. Every home felt too small. Not because they needed more square footage, because they needed flexibility. One room was used for hobbies, another served as a guest room, then they had family that stayed with them, their grandchildren would come over and visit, holiday gatherings were a major part of their life, and they needed a home office in another room. And what they realized was they didn't really want a smaller home, they wanted an easier lifestyle. So those aren't the same thing. Instead of downsizing, they purchased a home with more functionality, a better layout, and less maintenance. Now they're in that home, thrilled with the decision that they've made. So the question that nobody asks, and I promised you earlier that we would get to it, and it might be the most important part of this entire video. Instead of asking, should I downsize? Ask yourself, what do I want my life to look like over the next 10 years? Think about that for a moment. Not next year, not 6 months from now, 10 years from now. Where do you see yourself? If you're traveling more, spending more time with grandchildren at your house, are you hosting more family gatherings? Are you starting a new hobby that you need space for? Are you still working and you're working from home? Or are you volunteering? Are you going away for the weekends? So are you owning less or are you owning more? Most people focus on the house, but the happier people focus on the life. The house should support the life that you want, not the other way around. So let's talk about 5 things that might be right for you when you're downsizing. Every situation is different, but these things make perfect sense. So, does your house feel like work? If maintaining your home feels overwhelming to you, that might be a clue. Maybe the yard requires constant attention. Maybe cleaning takes an entire weekend. Repairs seem like they just don't stop. Your home should support your life and not consume it. Number 2, you're using very little of the house. Be honest. How many rooms do you actually use? If half of your house is sitting empty most of the year, it may be worth evaluating whether that space serves its purpose or something smaller would work better. Number 3, freedom. Many homeowners tell me that they want the freedom to travel. They want to spend more time with their family. They want the lock and leave lifestyle without having to worry about the big house and the care for it while they're away. So a smaller, low maintenance house can be incredibly attractive for that reason. Sign number 4, you have a 2-story house. This is one that people don't think about enough. Stairs aren't an issue today, but what about 5 or 10 years down the road? We need to plan ahead, and getting into a one-level ranch-style home can be a great choice. And number 5, you want to unlock your equity. For a lot of homeowners, the primary residence represents a large portion of their net worth, and moving into something more manageable can free up resources for retirement, travel, investing, helping out the kids. One of the families that I recently sold a house to had enough equity to buy in cash and sock some extra away. So let's talk about the top 5 reasons the top 3 reasons you may not want to move. Your place is the gathering home. You may regret giving up the space that makes those special moments possible. I've had clients tell me the thing that they miss the most wasn't the house itself, but it was having room for everyone they loved to be in that space at different holidays. Number 2, you have those golden handcuffs and you don't want to give up that low mortgage. Many homeowners have low interest rates that are just challenging to replace. And when we evaluate a move, we need to look carefully at the entire financial picture and make sure that this is a good one for you. And reason number 3, you're solving the wrong problem. This may be the biggest one. Sometimes people think that they need a smaller house when what they actually need is organization. We all know that the house gets crammed full of different things, a new layout, less maintenance. The solution isn't always moving, it might be renovating. So I'm glad you joined me today to talk about what downsizing can look like in Mesa. Whether you're in this transition or another one, there's so many good options for you. You have beautiful 55 and older communities. There are lock and leave neighborhoods. You have golf. There are communities that have luxury homes with minimal maintenance. There are communities that are close to hiking, restaurants, shopping, healthcare, and entertainment. And the great thing about Mesa is that every area feels a little different. East Mesa feels different than Central Mesa. Las Sendas is in North Mesa and offers a completely different experience than traditional neighborhoods. Mountain Bridge is right next door to Las Sendas, and that's a golf community. That's why I always encourage people to spend time understanding the lifestyle you want before you focus on the square footage. So now let's talk about the emotional side of letting go. It is so hard to talk about the grief. Yes, the grief. You're excited about moving forward, but even when you know it's the right decision and it's the right move for you, it is completely normal to feel emotional. You're not just leaving a home, you're leaving memories. You're closing one chapter and you're starting a whole new one. I've seen homeowners apologize for getting emotional. Please don't. It's completely normal. I don't want you saying that you're sorry, because your home represented so much more than just walls and a roof over your head. And the good news is you're not leaving those memories behind. You can take them with you, and we can start in a place that's fresh where we can create a space for new memories. So what I tell every homeowner, whenever someone asks if they should downsize, I don't immediately start looking at homes and the right neighborhood and the right fit. I want to know what you want your life to look like, and I want you to tell me what you love about your current house. What frustrates you about your house? How often do your family members visit? And what does your ideal week look like? What do you want your life to feel like? Those answers almost always get us to the right path. Not because it's real estate, because we hone in on your lifestyle. If you take nothing else away from this video today, remember, downsizing is not a goal. A better life is the goal. So for some people, that means moving into a smaller home. And for some people, it means the same size home. For some people, they stay exactly where they are. And for some people, they get a bigger home and they move into that next chapter of life that can better fit what their goals are. And the right answer isn't always the same for everyone, but it's about creating a life that you love waking up to every day. I'd love to hear from you. If you're thinking about downsizing, make sure you give me a call or text. Have you done it before? What's your biggest concern? What do you think about making a move? Leave a comment below and pick up that phone and call me so we can talk it through. I've been through it. I've done it a couple of different times, and I can tell you firsthand, the first time I downsized way too small. Now I'm in a medium-sized house and I want to go a little bit bigger than what my family home was. So if you're thinking about downsizing in Mesa, Apache Junction, Queen Creek, Gilbert, Chandler, Tempe, I would love to be your guide. If you're moving to Arizona from out of state, I want to show you what the East Valley lifestyle is about. And remember, the best home isn't the biggest one. The best home isn't the smallest one. The best home is the one that supports the life that you want to live every day. I'll see you in the next video. Thanks so much for joining us.